Let me talk about Iran for a moment. Iran's interesting. I talked about artificial countries in the Middle East. Libya, Syria, Algeria, Iraq. I talked about Yemen is partially artificial, not wholly artificial. There's nothing artificial about Iran. Iran's a real state. In fact, as Syria and Iraq crumble, and Lebanon and Jordan are under stress, the only two vibrant states between the eastern edge of the Mediterranean and the Central Asian plateau is a Jewish state and a Persian state. Keep that in mind. There is nothing artificial about Iran. Persia was the first great superpower in antiquity. If you look at the map, various Persian empires, the Medes, the Parthians, the Achaemenids, the Sassanids, the Qajars, and others, what you find is it roughly approximates the area of Iranian influence today. Lebanon, Syria, certainly Iraq, Western and Central Afghanistan. Iran has a terrorist network of empire of sorts from the Mediterranean to central Afghanistan. Persia historically has had very close relations with the Jews. Persia historically has had very bad relations with the Arabs. Persia historically will be around for decades and decades to come because, as I said, it's a real state. I cannot promise you that Saudi Arabia will exist for decades and decades to come, because Saudi Arabia is artificial, though I never got to talk about it. Saudi Arabia is not is not synonymous with the trapezoidal Arabian Peninsula in the way that Iran is synonymous with the Iranian plateau, with the Iranian plateau. So it wouldn't surprise me at all if 10 years from now the United States had closer relations with Iran than it has today with Turkey or Saudi Arabia. And I infer this from geography. I infer that there's a lot that the U.S. and Iran have to talk to each other about. They can each do each other a lot of good in a strategic fashion. The worst nightmare of the Saudis in Riyadh, the absolute worst, which infuses so many of their conspiracy theories, is that the U.S. will have a rapprochement with Iran. That's what really that's the Saudi nightmare, that Saudi Arabia has dwindling underground fresh water sources, that it has 40% male youth unemployment, that the royal family inner circle is spreading from about 20 to several hundred as the sons of the favored wife of Ibn Sudair die off, and you know, just congeries of grandchildren emerge fighting for the spoils, and the power structure is split up. And meanwhile, the Iranians and the Americans find they have a lot to discuss around the table. And if they can get by this nuclear issue, I think you're going to see a very, very different Middle East. Let me close with the Western Hemisphere. Let me talk a little bit about the Western Hemisphere. China for a second. China is projecting power out into the South